This episode of the Party Loaded podcast is proudly sponsored by Audible.com. Check out their awesome catalogue of audiobooks with over 180,000 titles to choose from. And be sure to grab a free audiobook on us and support the show by visiting audibletrial.com/endgame.
Let's party.
Welcome to Party Loaded. This is episode 25 on the 11th of May. It is a Wednesday evening and we're all sitting here recording the show as we always do. My name is Luke Retallick and I'm joined by the rest of the party, which numbers tonight Ollie. Hello.
Hello. I am here.
We have Imogen as well. Hello.
Hello.
And sounding off we have Jam as well.
Hello. Are you going to be narrating every little itty bit we do?
No. I'm not going to narrate shit because I would rather talk over you rather than talk about what you're doing, and that wouldn't work for anybody.
I think, I think that works better too.
Also, Jamie knows me too well. In the countdown to start recording, she tried to make me laugh, and it was so difficult not to burst out laughing.
I was on mute and I was losing it.
Took every single ounce of my control.
I maintain that if one day we ever get around to codifying our outtakes, that's going to provide some solid hours of entertainment. But that's a whole bunch of editing that I
do know
never
where
want to
you
touch.
live, and I will find you, and I will kill you before that happens, because I know exactly what's in those outtakes.
Yep. and I think that out of all of us, you are probably the most compromised out of every single one of them. So, yeah, that would be some hilarious content. Anywho, how's everyone going?
We shouldn't have allowed him any power, guys.
It's true.
I have regrets.
We should have learned this from Minecraft.
Yes. Oh, God. Admin privileges.
Funny. All right. Well, we are here to chat about video games, of course. And, aside from video games, let's do the warm-up before we sort of dive in. Let's do the foreplay. How's everyone's week been? Doing anything interesting?
Oh, that made that so weird.
Why you gotta be like that?
Well, is everyone okay from the come down? So we've gone nearly 24 hours without Overwatch now, I think. Is that about right?
Yeah, it's not so bad. It's we'll get there. We've got each other, and that's important.
Group hug. Yeah. So Ollie seems to be particularly afflicted by the current state of affairs. Would that be a safe assertion to make?
Can it be May 24th yet?
Yeah. Look, I got to say, I'm not going to say surprised because I kind of predicted that this would happen, but I'm amused that out of all of us, you seem to be the one who's gone from, Overwatch, it seems okay, but, I'm very, very hesitant to, commit to saying it's going to be a good game until I actually play it, to now you're like, where's my Overwatch? Where's 24th of May? I want to play this game. It's fucking awesome.
So, you notice in that sentence you said I went from, I won't make judgment till I played it.
That's fair.
And then I played it.
You do seem to have a fairly consistent pattern with holding judgment until you jump
point.
in. Yeah.
How dare I bring proper sentence structure to the fore?
All right, well, let's dive in with the Overwatching then. So, because on our list of games played this week, it features fairly friggin' heavily. So, Imogen, do you want to start? How's your Overwatching week been?
Yeah, I warned people on Twitter already that I was going to talk about Overwatch again, and everyone's probably fed up with me talking about it, but all of my gaming time the last week has been in Overwatch. Thanks very much to, obviously, Simo earlier in the week, so I could get in on the closed beta. And then, of course, the open beta came, which is free for everybody. And to be honest, I'm in love with this game, and I haven't even bought it yet. I haven't had to play a cent, so I'm living the charmed life, but I just adore it. I mean, I've definitely had some lows, and you guys have been online. Well, Ollie's definitely been online for some of those, because some of those were last night.
Oh, yes.
I think that you may have learned some new swear words playing this game, I think, perhaps.
That's the most I've heard over swear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got really angry in one of those games, especially at, what was the Reinhardt? He wasn't doing things properly, and I couldn't communicate that to him.
You could. We have voice chat and you have text chat. 100% communicate it to him.
I only just learnt to play the game like normally. I can't do that and type.
He's only one of your many respawns because of his ineptitude.
Oh, wow. I thought that was going somewhere else.
Yeah.
One of my many respawns because Imogen.
Yeah.
No, but the game is really good. It is, everyone's sort of figuring out characters and played online with some like level 70 odd people, which, seemed a bit imbalanced since I'm only a level 12, or 13 at the end, but it was really, really good and good fun. And I tried really hard to learn new characters, but settled into double bunnies for life with Jam. Fist bump. Good job. Double diva on a team, especially on an attack team. We would just sort of take turns. We had a really cool move where we would sort of rocket in and dump both of the bunnies and capture the point just by clearing it out and then going back on it. It was a bit cheatsy doodle, but that's Overwatch. You got to build your team.
There's something immensely
strategy.
satisfying from saying that you beat the other team into submission with your double Ds. That just sounds
God damn it.
Why every time does it have to be this way? You need
Because we
therapy.
can't have nice things.
We cannot have nice things.
And Luke
My
is the
favourite
reason.
moment of all time, both of them happened last night, and one of them was capturing a point. I ran in, nuked Diva on the point, so I killed a couple, but then the rest sort of ran away, and then Sam came in and just did his ultimate on top of that, and we captured the point, and we got that game back from just about to lose, like 30 seconds away from losing.
Nice.
So I was really proud of that. And then I got a play of the game yesterday to wrap up my last match yesterday. I got the play of the game was me. And I was very excited because usually it's Bastion. Whoever plays Bastion.
That guy.
What was the play? Was it something
I
particular?
managed to take out 4 of the team with my bunny, with my
Nice.
nuke. So I was pretty happy with that. Partly probably because they weren't very good at playing the game and so didn't realise they had to run away, or I don't know, good placement.
No, it was around a blind corner, so they couldn't really see it coming.
That seems like a
kinda
really good place to do that, actually. Yeah. I haven't seen many of those, but... and apparently you just, like in the last sort of day or so of the beta, learned that you could boost up into the air, I hear.
Yeah, I knew I could boost forward, but I didn't. And I knew I could jump and get like a little bit of air, but I couldn't realise I could actually use the up button to get more lift.
She also learned the tab button exists.
Yeah, I didn't know that because I don't play first-person shooters. So everybody else who's listening goes, yeah, of course, you press tab to see like where you're at, your stats, and make sure you're like player number 1, etc. I don't do that. I only ever play on consoles, and it tells you that information anyway. So I only just learnt where that is because Ollie kept saying, "Oh, I've got the gold medal in this and that." I'm like, "How do you know these things? Where's this information? What do I click on?"
Well, I'm kind of the same. Like,
Well,
I
he
don't
was
think that
Bastion,
information
so
is
therefore
particularly...
gold.
That information's not really relevant until the end of the game anyway, so...
No, but you can still check their team composition out with it because it shows you the other team. If you've
Because
spotted
I'd
them.
be like, "Oh, Ollie, they've got like 2 Widowmakers." He's like, "Yeah, duh." I was like, "Why are you being such a dick?"
No, it was the other way around. I was like, they have this, and you're like, yeah, state the obvious. I'm like, no, I've just pressed the tab button. It's actually the other way around.
I did not realise it
That's
showed
not
you which
how I
characters
remember
they
it
were
at
using.
all.
That's handy.
Yeah, you don't see it straight away. You have to actually visually spot them. So if they swap it out, you have to spot them, and then it'll update. But yeah.
Oh, so track stuff that
that's
you've already
neat.
revealed, essentially.
Yes.
Gotcha. That's really cool. I did not know that. There you go.
Yeah, but it was also good for tracking when Ollie was like, "Oh yeah, gold medal objective time." I'm like, "I got this." Go stand on the point for a while.
When it's
Gold
like
medal
3
is mine.
seconds, not hard to beat.
Don't take this victory away from me, Ollie. No, it's been a lot of fun, and I do like that last night we had the same thing that we said last time, which was, that 7th person jumping on just as you've formed a team and you're just about to start a game, and they're like, "Hi guys," and you're like, "Oh, this is awkward."
Sorry, Simo.
That happened to me the other night as well. It was a
fine.
shame.
Then we
got
ended up
to verse
playing
him.
against him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
And he was
his
in our
fault.
chat. Cheeky little bugger.
And then you guys all started announcing what characters you were playing. I was like, shush, be quiet.
Well, Jam, you could have just booted him out of the chat. Maybe it would have been more sensible.
I only do that to you.
Bitch. All right,
But
so
yeah, Overwatch, legit. Game is legit. Will play.
have you checked your stats on characters played, Imogen? Like, what's the most time logged? Is it still Mercy, or is it one of the others now?
I think I haven't checked my stats, but I think it would be fairly even between Diva and Mercy now, just because we played quite a lot with somebody else who is a much better healer than I am. So sort of gave over healing duties to somebody else and did quite a lot of work with D.Va. And I actually, towards the end of yesterday, started preferring it. Felt like I was more effective that way. And every time I had to go back to a healer for team composition purposes, got a bit fed up. And then by the end of the game, ended up going back to a tank-based character, either McCree or D.Va.
Okay.
Because I wanted to kill stuff. So that's new. That's scary.
Oh, nice. Oh, how about you, Ollie? You obviously spent a fair bit of time in the game in the last week. So any new thoughts on it or anything that's changed for you opinion-wise? Or is it just, more of the same?
All right. I'll put it this way. When did Mass Effect 3 come out? Anyone remember?
06, I think.
3.
Mass Effect 3.
Yeah,
06.
okay. 2012.
Oh, wow. Was that recently? Okay, cool.
Okay, so since 2012, I've had the same backdrop wallpaper on my PC. And it's been the N7 on the black background.
Yep.
I now have an Overwatch background.
Nice.
Wow.
That tells you something.
Is your phone background now going to be Overwatch?
No, that's still Mass Effect.
Oh, okay.
I have to keep Mass Effect in there somewhere.
So if you want it, you better put a ring on it, sort of thing?
Right. But less lame.
Yeah, fair.
So yeah, I genuinely enjoy this game. There are a couple of little tweaks they need to do with some of the hero balances.
Bastion.
No, we'll put it this way. Last night, every time it was play the game for Bastion, hello, that's me, I was just there going, yeah, I don't deserve that. I actually genuinely wish they did play the game based on the votes for the votes at the end. So there's a little voting system at the end of each round, which is like, such and such blocked 11,000 damage or healed 43% of the team or got a 15-player kill streak or something.
That would open it up
That's
way
a good
too much
idea.
to cronyism, though, I feel. It's probably, people,
Yeah, but not so much then. It just favors kills, and not always the best play of the game is a kill.
No, I like that idea because especially, if someone got, like I saw yesterday, or this morning, sorry, they're like, thanks for playing, here are the plays of the day. And there was a Mercy on there who got 22,000 heals.
Wow.
I would watch that. Like, if that was in my game, I want to see how that happened. Like, I
Yeah.
want to see part of how that happened.
Like, don't get me wrong, there's some impressive kill streaks out there. Like, damn impressive. I watched a Widowmaker one that was just insanity. Like, just insane. But more often than not, I don't feel like it should always be just for the kill streaks.
yeah.
At least not call it play of the game then. Like,
Agreed.
rename it something. Like,
It
because
seems to be focused on damage, and so
Yes,
you're
sorry,
never going to get
damage.
a play of the game. Oh, that's a lie, actually. I got a play of the game in the closed beta as Mercy,
Yeah, I saw that.
interestingly. Yeah. So, but yeah, I only ever see it where it's, high kills or high damage. So the support characters aren't seeming to get a lot of look in.
which is a bit unfortunate because they are one of the classes that not many people like playing, and they should be rewarded for it. Essentially,
Well,
they should
we
be
always
shunned
say, like-
even further.
Does playing
you
the
always
game
vote the
actually
healer.
give you a big reward, though, or is it just mostly
No.
just for show at the end?
It's just for show, but at the
Yeah.
same point, you do kind of don't want to just be like, oh, look at this guy. He killed 6 people. Whereas there's the healer at the back going, I saved the team 15 fucking times. Where's my thing?
It's probably harder to quantify that in terms of a short, wow factor clip.
Oh,
though.
no, I 100% agree.
Yeah.
But I personally am not a fan of play of the game. That's
Yeah.
one of the tweaks I would like. And the other one is loot boxes need to be fixed. Having to go 20 plus levels and not be able to afford even just one legendary skin is a bit of an issue. There's just a bit too much in there. Maybe a little bit of currency each loot box, or being able to break down not just duplicates but anything that you didn't want for a bit of currency.
Sort of like the Hearthstone system where you can dust
Yeah.
any card. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That would be nice. Or even just oh, cool, you leveled up. Here's 10 coins. So or 100 coins. So in 10 levels, you get your cool skin. Something like that.
That's true as well, because if you're getting lots of sprays or skins, or even if you get a legendary skin and it happens to be for a character you're just never going to play,
Exactly.
it would be great to be able to disintegrate that into something that would actually work towards the characters that you do play.
I can kind of understand why they haven't done that, though, because I think that the real goal that Blizzard's pushing for is to actually encourage you to play as many different diverse characters as possible. So
Okay.
if you get a whole bunch of really cool sort of sprays or skins or, voice emotes and things for different characters, because you may actually want to hop on and try them out so you can use your stuff. Whereas if they make it that you can just deconstruct everything, then people are going to get their ultimate sort of skins that they really want for the character they play all the time really easily because they're just going to wipe everything else. So
what you're saying is they don't want to give people what they want?
Well, I think that they do want to give people what they want, but they also want to encourage people to diversify and explore more of the game. So
okay,
yeah.
To counterpoint that, someone did the maths. 'Cause I've been going on the forum. This is only the second time ever I've actually gone on a computer games forum. First time was the Stalker games. This is the second time ever I've actually gone on a community forum, like official community forum.
Okay.
Someone did the math. You have to play 164 years with average sort of loot box time to unlock everything in the game.
Okay. Yeah, so
164 years straight.
Probably need a balance of some sort, but I think that you could probably find a solution that meets both of the criteria that we're talking about.
The big one would easily keep emotes, keep skins, keep voice lines. They're all great. Ditch sprays and ditch player icons. Like, why bother having preset ones when every other game just goes, here you go.
I don't know. Heroes of the Storm, you have to unlock the profile pictures as well, and I kind of think that's cool because you can work towards like, if when I was playing Diva, I was like, if I play her lots, then I get her player tile. Same deal with.
Oh look, you can
heroes.
have that, but don't have it in the loot boxes.
Yeah, fair.
If that's what if you go, cool, I've gotten like 20 games with this character, or I've gotten so much XP or time or kill streaks or whatever with this character, then you get the special spray or player icon for it. That's cool. That's fine. And it sort of still compels you to play that character. Don't just chuck it in a random loot box.
There are
You
some,
don't want the loot boxes to become like an afterthought where you go, oh, I've got some spare time. I'll go open my 300 loot boxes now because I can't be bothered.
Yeah.
They're all going to be sprays.
Yeah, exactly. Like last night, I was like, okay, I got 3 loot boxes last night because I played a fair bit. I got 10 sprays and player icons out of that.
I do like some of the really exclusive sprays that you can only get from performing particular feats in the game to unlock them, like that you got probed one that I was telling you guys about the other night. Yeah,
and that I have zero issue with. That's great. That's the way it should be. They shouldn't be padding out loot boxes.
Yeah,
that's my issue with it.
Player icon's probably a really good one to bring up though, because that is the one thing out of all of those bonuses that really you can only use one of because it's associated with your account rather than the character you're playing as. So it probably would make sense to be able to do something with the additional player icons that you're never going to use. Whereas the characters, you could potentially see multiple of those voice lines or skins or whatever else during a single game. So a bit more use out of those.
That being said, gameplay-wise, I have very, very little issue with it. Apart from a couple of minor, maybe map tweaks and character tweaks, I will happily play this game. Like, I genuinely want to play more of this game. Hell, I even read the background of every freaking character.
Yeah.
Wow.
I never do that.
Have you seen the comics they've been posting online?
Yep.
The DeviantArt stuff, yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, not just the DeviantArt.
No, the official comics.
They've done 3 now. I think there's a
there's a Reinhardt. There's the
Dragon Slayer one. There's a Junkrat and
Roadhog.
Roadhog one. Yep, that one's pretty funny actually. And
I don't think there's a third.
Yeah, there's a McCree one.
Oh, I haven't read the McCree one.
Yeah,
read it.
It's like a train robbery one, which is pretty cool. So. Yeah, I haven't read the Dragon Slayer one yet, though. But the Junkrat and Roadhog one was pretty sweet. That was really, really funny.
Yeah. My favourite characters now, easily, Tracer. I learned how to use her. That was fun. She's just ridiculous fun there. Bastion, of course, because he's awesome and everyone hates him and it's hilarious. And Soldier 76 was the other one. Quite like him. And then I want to learn how to use Zenyatta, who's a robot monk. I want to learn how to use him. Because he looks cool. But apart from that, that's okay. That's me. Lots of Overwatch. I think I sunk 18 hours into the game over the beta.
Holy moly.
Nice.
And he's been super modest.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's
all the time.
so
modest,
All the
guys.
time.
Most
He's
amazing
super
modesty.
okay at the game, guys. It's just super okay.
He's extremely modest about it if he doesn't say so himself.
My shoulders did get very heavy at times. I got very sore.
Just finish games and Ollie would be like, you're welcome.
I did take a photo. I managed to get a clean sweep of gold medals, one game with Bastion. I was very happy. So I've got an official photo of that.
Official photo.
I'll send it out. I sent it out to everyone. It's great.
So maybe this
I
is how
sent you as in Christmas cards in future.
This may be how I finally sell the idea to you of having a Twitter account for yourself, Ollie, because you can just use it as a brag engine.
No. Modesty.
I don't like bragging in public, if that
That's
makes
a
sense.
lie.
No, I don't. I genuinely don't. I
Twitter
don't
isn't
mind,
people.
I don't mind bragging a little bit in game because I'm very passionate. I got very passionate.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the word I'll use.
You did. You were very good when I was very angry, and I was like, I don't think I'm very good at this game. Ollie's like, now, you'll get better.
I was nice because it's a team game. You got to, be nice to your team.
Yeah, and I really sucked.
Yep.
Yeah, I sucked at the start too. I suffered from the mistake of trying too many characters. And I was like, it's kind of fun, sure, whatevs. But then I settled on Soldier 76 for a while, got comfortable with him.
You're really good with him.
Yeah, and it helped that he was a generic shooter type build.
Yeah.
And started having so much fun because I was actually doing damage and smashing it. And then I'd switched to Diva, got a hang of her. I loved zooming around in that rabbit.
So much fun.
Oh, it's awesome. Awesome. And I love all the little 8-bit sprays. They're so cute. Into onion toys.
Onion for life.
Good fun. I can't wait to play more. I seriously had a look at the lineup and realised I didn't play half of the characters. And the ones that really gave me the shits, I'm thinking I probably should try them. Like May. I never played her, and she's just,
She is
May
so
is super
good.
good. Yeah.
When
The
you have
May-
a good versus a good May player, it is the
Yeah.
most frustrating thing.
it's
She's
the
actually one I
worst.
think needs a little bit of a nerf on her freeze.
I was playing her
Just a
real
tiny
up
bit.
close and aggressive initially with her freeze gun and the walls doing most of the
you
work.
can.
But then I started playing her long range, and she is super good long range as well. Like using her ice spike shots, she's like ridiculously good with those. So
Yeah. She needs a couple of little tweaks, I think. Nothing major, nothing huge, but just a couple of little tweaks here and there. then she'll be good.
The group freeze and paired with the double Farahs last night with her ultimate was just like annihilating. Like
So
there was
for those of you that
nothing
don't know
we
what that
could do.
means, think you get stuck in one spot and then two people just launch giant rocket barrages at you whilst you're
There
stuck in
is
that spot.
nothing you can do. Justice from above. You will die. Congratulations, you are now a pool of goo on the ground.
nice. Frozen dinner. Yeah.
Frozen goo.
Yeah. Hey, actually, I wanted to ask you guys about something that I've noticed sort of playing Overwatch a little bit, and I want to see if your opinions are in line with mine or not. Do you think that some of the characters have a slightly forgiving point of impact with some of their ranged weapons? And what I mean by that is it seems like some of the shots from some of the characters' impact are actually a bit splashier than you would be led to believe looking at their stats and stuff. So you can take shots, and for some reason, when you think they should be missing, they actually end up hitting and doing damage. Has anyone
Some
experienced
characters
that?
Could be
have
it.
shots that are described as splash impact.
I'm not talking about the obvious ones like Farah's rocket launcher. I'm talking about ones that really you think shouldn't be. Like, great example, Widowmaker's rifle. Like, the long-range shots with her rifle, I swear they do splash damage and actually hit stuff that aren't directly in your sights sometimes.
I think it's part of that is to do with the tick rate of Overwatch.
Okay, explain what you mean by that.
So you know how you have FPS, which is frames per second.
Yeah.
So you get your 60 FPS and everything's nice and smooth. Okay. Tick rate is how often your PC is sending information to and from the server. So Overwatch has a tick rate of about 20, which is quite low for most online shooters. So that's actually where some of that actually comes in. And that's why the game doesn't feel laggy. Like, did you notice, even though at no point did we ever have any like massive lag spikes or anything like that?
That's very true.
Because of that low tick, but because of that low tick, you do have a bit more generosity with the hit generation.
Ooh, learning. Hashtag Professor Ollie.
Yeah, well,
Thanks, Ollie.
I would
I
have.
went on the forums today. What can I say? I'm interested in the game.
You are such an Overwatch nerd. Welcome
would've
to the
suspected-
Well,
Blizzard
no, that's an
fan club.
FPS thing as well.
I would have suspected if that was the case, then it would work in the opposite direction as well. Like if you took a shot at something that's directly in your sights, then on some occasions it would miss because of the delay. But is that not the case?
Yes and no. More so, it will work towards the hit than it will towards the miss.
Doesn't it depend on how they program the hitbox?
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah.
There was, and interestingly enough, weapons are part of the hitbox.
Oh.
Oh, really?
You can kill someone if, and as Bastion, this happened to me. I turned and I watched the kill cam. My minigun poked around the corner a little bit, and I got Widowmakered right in the minigun and
Well,
dead.
Yeah, someone got
You're a
shot in the
robot.
foot last night.
I got shot in the foot.
No, that
Yeah.
makes
I
sense though, because that's part of your body.
I was hiding behind the hovercraft objective as it was rolling along, hiding from the other Bastion, and someone snapped me in the goddamn foot.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I can live with
How
that.
did I die? Saw the playback. Oh.
It is one of the things I've considered that would make certain characters a lot zippier and harder to hit. Like Tracer's a great example. Like she's very small in body, so she's quite hard to draw a beat on. And, you know, that's part of her character too, which is quite appropriate. She's, you know, very
so
mobile
much fun.
and hard to, pin down. Yeah. And that's part of the reason why I actually prefer playing with Farah, because just hosing an area with rocket bursts seems to be the most reliable way of countering that personally. But
Yeah, look, if I see a Pharaoh go up in the air, I instantly hit my time rewind
and
just get the fuck out of there.
I've actually been avoiding going up in the air as much as possible, because I'm finding if you can stay on the ground and just use your air jump to get out of trouble, as opposed to just trying to rely on it to get line of sight, that works way better for self-preservation. So
But flying is so much fun. I had so much fun healing Sam last night as Farah, like floating up in the air. I had that really cool move where I landed on the objective and like rezzed 3 people.
yeah.
Also
look,
that
it's
moment where you
really-
scared the shit out of me because all I saw was a shadow on the ground. I'm like, oh god! And then it's just you like, hello,
Lightly landing on the
floating
ground.
down.
Yeah.
It's really good for flanking as well. Like there's areas of the map where people, particularly when you're defending a point and people are watching from the front few entrances as to where the enemy's going to come. If you can use your flying to get round the side, then you can totally catch big groups of people unawares, which has been
for
pretty
sure.
fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I've been finding, like especially when I ultimate, and if I ultimate in the air, I'm dying about 50% of the time from someone seeing me and just shooting me out of the
I
sky.
love that so much. Justice reigns for.
Oh no, the favorite part is the die.
Yeah. Or the McCree, it's hide.
I really do appreciate that if you're halfway through your ultimate, like it does the voice emote. So for people who haven't played, everyone has like a unique thing. And so if you hear it's high noon or like die, like, or like justice from above, those 3 things will strike fear into you because you know that something's going to happen. Diva has the nuke this.
Yeah.
You're like, oh god, where is it?
Or the Bastion. You're like, oh shit.
Hanzo's one is
we're
the
all gonna
worst. Like
die.
when you hear the gun, you just like,
everyone's
oh
like,
crap.
scatter.
And then you end
whenever-
up running into it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what happens with all of those is if halfway through the ultimate you end up getting killed, it cuts off with like a it's very satisfying.
Okay, my final comment for Overwatch, on that note of the voice acting thing. I found this out playing Tracer, actually, which is amazing. So I was killing a Reaper player over and over again, and Reaper has his, like, grim, dark lines sort of thing. And every time I killed it, Tracer would do, like, a mock voice of it. So she would be like, die.
That's
like,
hilarious.
and just mock the shit out. I was like, that's amazing.
Oh no! Does
That was
anyone,
my fun.
does anyone know who does the voice acting for Tracer? I've got to find that out. I know.
No.
What's his name does
Matt
McCree.
Mercer does
Matt Mercer.
McCree.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my
Jesus,
God.
you don't shut up about it.
Shut up, guys.
Yeah, that's good. Like, the only last thing I wanted to say about Overwatch this week was the basketball trick that's been doing the rounds on social media.
Oh, that's
yeah.
That's hilarious. Like, I love that this is a game that even, before release, people are still like just finding the most weird and inventive shit to do with it. So, some of the starting areas have objects that you can literally shoot sort of in the environment. And there's, vending machines and, suitcases and all sorts of crazy stuff. But there's one in particular that has basketballs, which if you actually shoot around, they'll bounce out into the real world sort of area. Now, some enterprising individual, some champion of the world just discovered that you can actually attach things to those basketballs, in particular various different trap devices that a couple of the characters have access to. Junkrat being one of them. So he actually has a mine that he can attach to stuff, and also like a bear trap which drags things into it. So this clip that's been doing the rounds, he's actually managed to attach the bear trap and the mine both to the single basketball, and then from when the game actually starts, just shooting the basketball to propel it forward into the enemy zone. Like it bounced into, on this particular clip, it came near a tracer, and then the bear trap reaches out, grabs her, drags her into the ball, and explodes on the mine. And it was the most hilarious thing to see. So
wow, that would be cool with Symmetra's like turrets on it.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You can fit 5, I think, onto a basketball.
Yeah.
Is I think I've seen a picture of,
Let's
and you just
put a
see this
turret on the
laser light
onion.
show just going.
I don't think it works on a lot of things though, because I've tried to put Symmetra's turrets on some of the moving platforms that are in some of the levels, and it actually doesn't let you do it on all
Doesn't
of them.
register it.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't let you do it on the cargo train objective, whatever it is, the payload. You can't attach the turrets to that, which is a shame because that would be
That makes
ridiculously
sense,
good.
yeah.
All right, so I found the Tracer voice actor. It's Kara Theobald.
Okay, not ringing a bell.
This is her only video game.
Oh, there you go.
And I am so fed up of her voice already.
All right, well, has anyone been playing anything other than Overwatch? I saw that Jam had a few things on her list. Anything
Let's
interesting?
just talk Overwatch.
I read a bit of Minecraft and I read a bit of Rocket League.
Nice.
Some hoops.
Shooting them hoops.
So, Jam, you and I were talking earlier in the week about a awesome sort of community-made Minecraft map, which we're going to try out. I actually loaded that the other night, so it's ready to go for us, just FYI.
Oh, no way. That's
Yeah.
exciting.
So
It looks
it's this
epic.
giant hex-based game board that is just, it took like 400 hours for them to build. It is
saw
epic.
this.
I cannot
It does look awesome.
wait to dive in there.
So it's going to be like, I've forgotten the name of the very popular board game. Settlers of
Settlers?
Catan. Oh, wow. My brain tried really hard for that one, guys.
I think we should check it out after this.
Well, you could very well do that.
Oh,
yeah.
man. I don't know about that.
It's a survival compatible map too, which is very, very cool. And apparently the different areas can actually be teleported between. There's like these obelisks that are set up on it. They have actually programmed in a small chance of death if you overuse them. So
Well, what's the name of
magic.
this map in case people want to check it out?
I will look it up while Jam talks about anything else that she may have been playing.
Minecraft. I extended my house a little bit.
Is anybody on Minecraft anymore? Why do
no
we
one
keep,
was on
we're
when I
so bad
played.
at these games.
Yeah.
I go back to it. It's just, it was actually nice. It was nice not being on Mumble and chatting with people and just having the lovely Minecraft music.
It's quiet time.
Yeah. It was peaceful. I did some weeding. I was very zen.
I
very
just think
zen.
it's so bizarre that you love weeding so much in video
I don't-
games, but not
I
in
don't
Not in real
love
life.
it. I just can't stop once I start, and I get into this like autopilot mode.
Yeah.
But that's what normal people
nice.
do, but outside.
Oh no! Outside
That's why
has
people love
sun.
gardening, because it's so relaxing.
Requires like effort.
I can't find it. It's here somewhere. Anyway.
We'll
yeah.
have to post it up on Facebook or Twitter
Yeah,
or one
I'll
of those
I'll
things.
post a link up somewhere. So it
Please
was seriously cool, though. Highly recommend the thing that I can't remember the name of. Anyway.
So I spoke all about my thrilling Minecraft escapades. How about you, Lou? What
Hey,
you
I've
played
got it.
this week?
It's called Fane.
Oh, fine.
Phain is the name of it.
Ignore my segue.
All
Don't
right,
care.
so
Phain.
I did play some stuff this week. I actually dragged myself away from the Overwatching and tried out some new games. So I'll start with Stellaris. So have any of you heard of this game?
Nope.
Yes.
Only today in the Steam shop.
Okay, so Ollie, tell me what you know about Stellaris and I'll fill in the blanks.
It is in space, and it's a 4X game.
Yes.
That is all I know.
All right, so for people playing at home that don't know what a 4X game is, it's basically a term that's used for a lot of games that are often video games or board games. It stands for explore, expand, exploit, and exterminate. Generally large games where you explore areas of a map. You expand an empire, so you sort of build on, it's like a base building kind of thing. You exterminate the enemy, so there's a bit of player combat involved, and you exploit the natural resources, so there's a bit of a resource management sort of aspect to the game as well. So games like Civilization, really good example of 4X games. themes. And of course, there's a board game version of it, Civilization, that kind of explores those themes as well. So yeah, there's a bunch of them around. Now, this one is... It is very much a space-themed 4X game. It is a massive scale one, though. It's like galactic scale, where you're sort of building up an empire, like an entire race of people, or multiple races, as it turns out, and it's sort of expanding. I'm going to draw a couple of comparisons to the most recent Civilization Beyond Earth game. Did any of you actually end up playing that when it came out? Couple of years ago?
No,
I did not.
No, so Civ a few years ago actually did like a sci-fi themed entry in their franchise, and it was kind of received with mixed reviews. I got it and played it myself, and I thought it was okay, but it was definitely lacking in some key areas that I think the traditional Civ games nailed a bit better. But this one is really like everything that I was hoping that Beyond Earth was and wasn't. Stellaris has pretty much nailed it. So I'll keep to really broad brushstrokes because there's a lot to talk about this game, and I could probably go on for quite a while about it. But you generally start off with a short option of what races you want to play. There's a couple of different human races, and there's a few basic alien races. And then you settle in a galaxy. Now, you can pick the size of the galaxy. It can be like fairly massive with, up to 32 or so different star systems. And this is entire star systems, like not solar systems. We're talking about multiple solar systems within a star system sort of thing. So like Milky Way size almost. And, you basically start there, and you start with a home planet and you grow your empire. So that consists of basically, having your actual home world that you clear different areas of and build different buildings and, accumulate, building resources in the form of sort of minerals. You've got power, you actually accumulate influence in terms of your population strength and that sort of thing. And you use that to sort of explore the galaxy and build different sorts of ships and, scan different galaxies to find new resources and anomalies and things like that. There's a big sort of science structure to the game as well. So you can actually research technology across 3 different trees at a time. And they have different sort of themes to them. So one tree is kind of like, very energy technology based. One's more around your nature type stuff, like learning how to settle planets and terraform them and that sort of thing. One's a little bit more military themed. The research tree for this game is actually quite different to many others that I've experienced in that you generally have an option of 3 different things that you can research each sort of phase. But those 3 things are random. So it's not like traditional games where you've got a set tech tree and you can kind of, analyze it and, sort of game the system a bit by working out what the best progression is. This one, you actually, because it's random, you kind of just have to, go for the opportunities as they arise. And sometimes they don't come around again for a while. So it's interesting in that regard. Like there's a few objectives that you actually open up in this game which require you to research certain technologies to actually get to them. And you don't know when those technologies are going to be available to research. You sort of have to just keep an eye out, and when they pop up, sort of jump on them and get them straight away. So the other really interesting part about the game is that there are other alien races that you encounter. And as it turns out, there's a lot of them, and they have a whole bunch of different traits and characteristics that sort of dictate how they react to you in terms of military presence, diplomacy, how they actually work with different other sorts of races too. Both the human options that you have by nature are actually xenophobic, so that provides a bit of a challenge when you're trying to open up diplomatic relations with other alien forces, because you get a massive negative modifier to do it. So you kind of have to build embassies on their planets and try and build up a bit of goodwill before they're even willing to really speak to you. So that's quite interesting. And the military aspect of the game is wicked. It's like so detailed. You can zoom in on a galactic scale and actually see the massive battle fleets of ships just going at it and hammering each other with particle accelerators and lasers and all sorts of stuff. So I think that the actual military aspect of the game is almost a game unto itself. So at the moment, my empire has sort of grown 5 planets strong. I've sort of settled 5 areas and, created that into a new sector and sort of tried to explore beyond that. I've encountered my first few alien races. I've got 4 that I'm sort of in contact with at the moment. One is right on my border, and I've been getting a bit concerned about them because they look evil as hell. Like they look like, I don't know. Best way to describe them is that they look like squids with giant sort of spiky face vaginas. I don't know. It's just, they're weird. They look angry.
Don't judge a book by its
What was
cover.
the name of that race, sorry, Luke?
Oh, I can't even remember. They're called the Yabon Empire or something. I've got the name
I
slightly
want to see
wrong.
what these look up.
Yeah, I don't know if they're randomly generated or if they're set or not. But yeah, so you actually get an indication for how they match up to you in terms of their military strength and their technology and that sort of thing. And for a little while, this race has shown up on my radar as having like an overwhelming military might combined compared to my own. But recently, I built a whole new sort of war fleet, and their rating changed to superior. And I was just like, okay, well, if they're only superior now, not overwhelming, maybe I can declare war and sort of, tactically, take them apart piece by piece. So I declared war because there's actually advantages to declaring war. It starts to boost your influence resources because your populace sort of mobilizes and that kind of thing. And they sent me a message back as soon as I declared war and said, yeah, haha, foolish humans, we've been waiting for this day. We're ready for you. Come at us, bro. And I'm just like, I made a terrible mistake.
I have chosen poorly.
Yeah, and like
Superior means we're equal, right?
Yeah, that's right. Within two months of game time, I literally had a fleet on my doorstep that was about 8 times the size of my biggest one, and I got my shit kicked in. So
I like them.
yeah,
I want to meet them.
It was not cool. So I totally save scummed that point and rewound a bit.
Wow, there are some cool looking aliens in this
Yeah,
game.
they're great. They all have some really interesting characteristics, and you can actually encounter sort
in the
of
chat.
primitive
There you go.
races that exist on your own planets, and through technology and research, actually raise them up to be civilized species that sort of work within your own empire. And you can actually sort of genetically engineer them to have different traits that assist you if you do that as well. The whole game is super cool. Like, it's really, really detailed, heaps and heaps to it. And if you're into those kinds of games, you'll find this is probably one of the best of that genre, I would say. So it came out this week. It's only like 2 days old and already
check it out.
doing stupidly well. So
Well, it's topping the top sellers list on Steam, and that's how I noticed it today. I'm very intrigued. So does it have multiplayer?
it does, actually. It has up to 32 player multiplayer.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Conveniently,
Oh my God.
Overwatch is over now, so...
I might need to get this.
Nah.
I'm a little uncertain as to how the multiplayer works because it's one of those games where it's it's not turn-based. It does have like a clock in game where you can sort of turn the game speed, up and down to various speeds depending on how quickly you want things to sort of tick over, and it kind of ticks over month by month by month by month. So when you're playing with other people, I don't know how that will work, like whether you're all at a fixed speed or whether one central player sort of controls
Probably.
it or not. And I'm not sure what would happen if you dropped out of that server, and other people are still online. Maybe the AI takes over for you or something like that.
Whoa,
Yeah.
I'm checking out some screenshots of this game. The scale is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's really cool. The galaxies are massive. It's going to
As
take
they should be.
quite a while to explore. Yeah. And the range of technologies available is incredible as well. I very much doubt that any two people building an empire will end up with the same stuff. It'll be vastly different from what I can tell. So yeah, really, really appealing. I definitely want to play it multiplayer. I think it'll, it'll take a bit of time to do that, but I think it'll be something definitely worth exploring. And it'd be very, very cool if enough of people we knew actually got the game and we could do a multiplayer together. That'd be super cool. So. But yeah, I actually didn't even know that this game was coming out. And then someone who I actually work with, one of my colleagues, put it on my radar and said, hey, you should check this out. A few of, our other colleagues on the floor are raving about it. And I was like, oh, okay, I've never heard of it before. Looks intriguing. Checked it out. I was like, yep, this is something I'm going to like. And it turns out it's been one of the bigger releases this month. So, yeah. So
And it's
that's
$40.
Stellaris.
American.
Yeah.
Conveniently, you have a bro who has lots of Steam wallets.
I have a bro who has throw money.
That's right.
Bro!
Yep. Yeah.
Aww.
So you should sweet talk him and check it out. It'll tide you over until Overwatch launches proper, I would say.
Yeah, because I'm totally at a loss for games.
Yeah.
I lack. I so lack.
So speaking of other games to fill the void, I did pick up yesterday one certain Uncharted 4, which has been big in the news this week as well. Been seeing a lot of positive reviews just about everywhere you look.
Yes.
So
Have you played much?
I'm about 3 hours in. I think I'm up to chapter 5. So chapters 1 through 4 are pretty much the prologue, and then the game doesn't really start proper until like where I'm just up to now. And it's funny, like I said to our group chat, the prologue for this game's quite long, and then Simo sort of shot back and said, yeah, like 3 games long, and I was like, touche.
Yeah.
I've not
Which you
actually
didn't
played the rest
play.
of the prologue then. Yeah, so it's my first Uncharted game. I haven't played the other 3. I definitely have been planning on picking them up, but it's just one of those time commitment things where I
Shaking
know
my head at you.
it's going to
So
take a while.
how's Nate? How's Nate doing? Good old
He's
Nate.
doing good. Nate has a brother, as it turns out. Yeah, and there's I get the feeling that
Wait,
there's a lot of
this-
backpedaling in terms of the
Spoilers?
setting. No,
Wait.
this is a well-known fact from all the trailers and stuff. It's pretty much the main.
See, I'm not
theme of the
convinced.
game.
See, whenever Luke says, no, this isn't a spoiler, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, whatever.
It's on the
I
Hey,
would
Luke.
say
friggin'
give
cover
us
of the
Are
game.
you
general
enjoying the game?
impressions.
Yes or no?
Game is
Yeah.
super good. Yep.
Okay, cool.
Move on.
Yeah, I think we should move on because I think that maybe once you've had a chance to play the game, Ollie, we should feature it a little bit more heavily in a future episode. So,
Sure.
yeah. Cool. Yeah, play it. It's super good. All of the reviews are not lying. It's great. And I
will
want to play
this
a lot
weekend.
more. Yeah. Yes, that's my gaming. Shall we move on
Anyone
to
want to buy me a PlayStation 4?
If you
Solid
buy
note.
me one first, then yes.
Swapsies.
It's maybe acceptable.
Can you buy a PlayStation
Oh, no,
4
but it's a
through,
gift.
through the Steam store?
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, is...
Yeah. Sweet talk your brother into trying to buy one through Steam.
He's trying to. He wants me to go halves with him on a HTC Vive because you can order those through the Steam
it.
store.
Ooh.
I'm seriously considering
Do
it.
it.
It's probably not a bad use for that funds he's got there. Yeah.
Yeah, but.
Speaking of which,
I don't
Jam,
know.
I may have an opportunity for us to play a Vive next week if you are available. I'll speak to you later. Yeah.
Splendid.
It may be an after work thing. So how about that Battlefield 1 trailer, hey?
Oh, pew, 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 pew.
Oh, that song is already stuck in my head. Enough.
Oh no, how terrible.
What
Only
a
it were a
shame.
good song.
It is a great song, but not when it's stuck in your head at 10 o'clock at night and you're trying to go to sleep.
I love how the Call of Duty trailer came out and everyone's just like, it's alright.
Worst video of all time.
I was being generous. And then this one came out and everyone's like, sploosh.
Did you guys happen to see the social media war that was going on between DICE and Infinity Ward? Yeah.
Yeah. Some of that stuff that Di said was like very, very, very blunt.
Oh yeah. I mean, they retracted a whole bunch of it.
They have
But
burnt so many bridges.
Oh, they don't give a
See
shit.
it.
it was hilarious. It was along the lines of, and I'm paraphrasing here, it was along the lines of, I saw your new trailer. Yeah, that's cute.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Oh, it was funny.
So blunt.
Yeah, but I mean, the games are going to be competing pretty heavily for that space in the market come
Come
release.
now, it's Call of Duty. People will buy it anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It just doesn't even matter anymore. They could release Call of Duty Chicken Run at this stage and they would still sell games.
They would, but they won't sell as much.
Zombie
And I
chickens. Call of
think
Duty.
that's
You're
gonna be their main
welcome
issue.
for your new Call of Duty Chicken Run.
Clock of Duty, yeah, that'll work. No, I have played Call of Duty games, but I've never played a Battlefield game. So, Ollie, what can we expect to be different with Battlefield versus Call of Duty?
Battlefield's
Well,
awesome.
the Call of Duty game looks like it's trying to put vehicles in, which Battlefield has always had, whereas Call of Duty has traditionally just been like infantry skirmishes, essentially. Whereas Battlefield has always been the larger map with the larger forces at play with the vehicles and the soldiers and the tanks, the flyers, that sort of thing.
Okay.
So it'll fit perfectly with World War One. I actually hope, because World War One is fucking huge scale.
Yeah.
I hope they do the Battlefront thing where they have a decent amount of players in there, so say 16 or 32 players, and they have a shitload of AI just to buff out the battlefield.
Oh, to
Yeah.
do like proper trench run battles.
Scale.
Yeah,
like
to get the
actual
scale right. I
scale.
hope
Yeah.
they top up the count with AI like Battlefront did. I really hope they do that.
Yeah, that would be very cool, actually.
It looks extraordinary, and for a video game, it just looks so authentic.
Yeah, World War One is a super underused setting, I think, and it's a really cool one.
Completely underused. I'm amazed there hasn't been like more AAA titles with it.
It's underused out of respect.
Yeah, I think
I'm gonna
Imogen's
put
right,
that out
actually.
there.
I think it is a very difficult one to do properly in terms of any narrative attached to it, because there's a lot of different perspectives as to, which nations sort of were in the right and wrong and who was doing what at various times during that war, and it's still quite sensitive. Whereas unlike World War II, which, I tend to think that the history has been heavily written by the
Quite
victors.
sensitive. It's been 100 fucking years.
I know, but it
Still,
still
it was a
seems to
lot.
be quite, I don't know.
Poignant.
Yeah.
As a
Poignant
German, I
part
can
of
officially say
history.
I give no shits about World War One.
But you can't speak on behalf of the whole German population.
No, that's true. They care more about World War Two.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that World War One will be great for the relative low technology of some of the weaponry, forcing you to be a little bit more precise with some of your gunplay.
Yeah, well, it's that mix of tech, isn't it? Like, you've got cavalry and tanks and artillery and, like, brutal hand-to-hand fighting. And then you got machine guns.
Yep.
Like, it's such a melange of technology. It's great.
This is honestly like 100% not my type of game, but that trailer was really cool.
Yeah.
It was very well done.
So let's talk about Disney Infinity.
Dinny.
We did. The end. Moving on.
Well, it is.
Well, that's
the
what they're
end.
doing. Yeah.
See? I summarised.
Good
That
job.
was good.
Yep. So,
High five.
in remarkable, succession to false advertising along the lines of the Neverending Story Part 2, Disney Infinity, in fact, is not going to go for Infinity.
Snap, Luke.
I think he worked that one. He was on that all day, like, yes.
Yes, he's like,
that was,
I have the
that was at
perfect
least
lead
20
in.
seconds prior to recording thing. So,
He was at work and he just went, yes. And everyone went, what the hell?
all right, so I mean, Disney Infinity, is known quite commonly as one of the toys to life sort of franchises of games. So, sitting alongside the likes of Skylanders and Lego Dimensions and Nintendo's Amiibo range as well. So Infinity's not been out for as long as Skylanders, which was probably the longest running out of those. But we've had pretty much an explosion in recent years of other companies sort of coming to the party and launching their own lines within that space. And it's become all of a sudden a very, very crowded market. So it seems like Infinity is now going to be the first casualty of that crowded market, because it looks like it's a market that's not grown a huge amount. It's mostly sort of just, large players coming in and trying to grab the same pieces of the same pie. And they have fallen on the short end of that. But in terms of Disney in general, I mean, Disney as a whole has been pulling out of video games for a while now. It's not something that has happened overnight. They've sort of stopped doing just about everything except for Infinity. So,
Well, in case of Disney Infinity, they're chasing after a market who Nintendo has a grasp on. Like, they were never going to beat the Amiibos. Like, Skylanders, fair enough. Even Lego Dimensions to a certain extent, but Amiibos is exactly the same target audience as they were going for with Disney Infinity. So, not surprised.
Well, it's funny you say that, because Disney Infinity, at the start of 2016, because of Star Wars, was hugely popular compared to the other two.
But it still doesn't hold out in terms of
Long term, no.
Yeah, no.
well, the thing that Infinity and Dimensions and Skylanders all have in common, not so much Amiibos because they're their own thing, is that they all have a video game sort of linked to the product, whereas Amiibos are kind of just an add-on for all of the other Nintendo video games. But as it stands, like, I've actually played all three of those games. Like, I've played a little bit of Infinity, I've played a little bit of Skylanders, and I've played a stack of Dimensions with my sons. All three games are actually surprisingly good for what they are. They're different, and, still... I mean, they are very similar, but there are significant differences to kind of make them their own things. But I would recommend any of them. Like, I think they're all great. It's not like they had a bad product. I think it's just the fact that they probably expected it to do a lot better than it did and, wasn't making bang for them to expectations. So, which is a bit of a shame.
They're really cool figures as well. I've actually considered buying them just because they look good.
Well, they've got that very definite Disney aesthetic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And some really, really good franchises in there because, Disney's got a tremendous scope of different, movies and things that they can draw from. And, of course, they had Star Wars too, which, is not a small thing. So I'm actually really curious what's going to happen with that now. Yeah, Marvel, another good example. I'm curious what's going to happen with the Star Wars stuff. I mean, is the licensing for that, because it's video games, just going to revert back to EA, or is that going to be up for grabs again? And could it potentially actually show up in
I don't think they own all
Lego?
of it. I think there's some caveats in the agreement in terms of, I mean, they own some properties, but not all of Star. Like, they don't own 100% of Star Wars as Disney. I don't know the details, but I remember when the original sort of agreement went through, they're like, well, these games are still, going to be non-Disney games. So there you go.
Yeah. Well,
Who knows?
we shall see. It'll be very curious to see what happens with the other ones now. Like, I don't think that Lego Dimensions is going to slow down anytime soon because it's Lego, and goddamn. Skylanders being quite long in the tooth, though, may sort of see a bit of a wind down unless they come up with some, new innovative stuff, because they certainly seem to have been struggling in terms of the public spotlight for a little while now.
Just release a new Spyro and I'll buy it.
Yeah.
Please.
So speaking of small, cute animals, did you guys see the Pokemon news dropping today?
It's just the best. I love Pokemon news.
Yeah.
I have not once played a Pokemon game, but was heavily invested in the cartoon series, and the release of the new Pokemon is hilarious. They have officially run out of ideas.
They ran out of ideas a long time ago.
They've got a kitten who goes on fire who is called Litten.
You just got lit off? Yeah, I like that.
That being said, that is not the worst they've done.
No.
That's also true.
The ice cream,
The teething ring.
The ice cream cone smoking a joint was probably the worst one that they've done. Have you guys seen that one? I forget the name of it.
I saw the
Sounds
teething ring and the
amazing.
pile of trash.
Yep. Yeah, the pile of
If you
trash
want a
one.
quick update, if you've never played any of the Pokemon games, look up Honest Trailer Pokemon on YouTube, and at the end of each of those videos, he goes through every single Pokemon and he gives them a very honest appraisal. And the last one, he just like, I don't even know, what are you guys even making anymore? Like, this is just a cat. Like,
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool
It's
though.
getting
They've
stupid.
also revealed the new region for the game, which is going to be very Hawaiian themed, which is a bit of a new thing, so it's kind of cool. But yeah, game's scheduled for release later in the year. I'll be picking it up for myself and my boys, so that'll be good to look forward to. Pokemon still remains cool even after all these years, and I'm sure it'll be as popular as ever.
always.
So, Ollie,
Same
Witcher
as Call
3.
of Duty. They could have released a pile of poop and people would still buy it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it'll Pokemon's one of those franchises that will survive a nuclear holocaust. It's just ridiculous.
Correct.
Yeah. Anyway, as I say, Witcher 3. Ollie, what do you know about this new expansion that's coming? Blood and Wine. Tell us about it.
It is massive. So there's apparently 30 freaking hours of new stuff to do, which
Oh my God.
is ridiculous.
I need to play this game.
Especially
really
for Luke, who
freaking
hasn't
should.
even started
I
yet.
know.
Luke's playing Uncharted 4. That's a fair reason.
Okay.
I'll let him have that one.
Oh, when I'm done with Uncharted 4, and I don't think there's anything else massive besides Overwatch that's going to be on
Finish
my
Uncharted 4 before Overwatch. Do
immediate
it.
play. Yeah, well, I'm going to crank through Uncharted in the next week, so I'm going to go as far as I possibly can. But Witcher will probably be the next big narrative game after that for me, I'd say. Yeah.
So yeah, 30 hours of new quests, side mission, races, monster hunts, tournaments. They've got the new level cap, which will be cool.
Level 100 now, is it?
Yep, level 100.
Nice even number. I guess what I'm wondering, and what I'm sure a lot of people are also wondering, is there going to be new Gwent content?
I think there is.
That was always the
presume
rumor.
High pitch.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was so high pitched.
Yeah, there's also stuff like new mutations, potions, all that sort of stuff. So it's a whole new shebang.
Leave it to the Hearthstone
It's a lot.
player to get excited about any particular card game content within the narrative.
You can't even talk about Gwent because you've never played the game.
I understand how
Exactly
it works,
right.
at least. So, yeah. But I agree. I'll probably talk
Seriously,
about it a
if they released a Gwent game, I'd buy it. I'd play it.
If they released a mobile Gwent game, I think that would draw a
No,
lot
I mean
of
tabletop.
attention.
I'd buy the shit out of that.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
Interesting.
I don't think you'd be alone there either.
No, I think
Like,
CD...
it's actually just a cool game.
I think CD Projekt Red are probably very busy with their new sci-fi title that they're putting a lot of work into at the moment. So, what's it called? Cyberpunk 2077 or something like that? Yeah.
That sounds stupid.
That game looks super good, though. I mean,
From what, the one trailer?
oh, look, come on. The company that
It's a
made
cinematic.
Witcher 3 making a game that
Oh
basically...
no, don't get me wrong. I have complete faith in them, but I'm not going to judge a thing by a cinematic trailer.
I am allowed to be a nerd and get excited about shit that I have no idea about.
No, you're not.
That is my prerogative.
Be impartial.
Speaking of getting excited about shit that you didn't know anything about, Imogen, what was this news about Minecraft content?
No, I'm so mad at you for all of your attitudes today. Not you, Ollie. For once, not you. Anyway, I came across some exciting news today about
Asshole.
they're releasing a Super Mario mashup pack for Wii U, and I misread it, and I thought that they were releasing a new version of Minecraft for Wii U, assuming that they maybe had the Pocket Edition on the Wii U, and now they're releasing the full version. I was incorrect, but let's just say that Luke wasn't very subtle about pointing out that I was incorrect and repeating that I was incorrect throughout the entire day. So
A
that has
giant
made my day.
bow would have been
Every
subtler.
time I was like, oh no, my bad. It's just the Super Mario mashup pack. And he's like, yeah, it's been on there for ages. That's how I heard it in my head anyway.
That's how I heard it too.
Anyway.
It wasn't how I meant it, but
sassy head side to side.
He's just still in a bad mood from failing all those roles at D&D.
It's true. It's true.
That was a shit.
So, anyway, there's a Super Mario mashup pack that has come into Minecraft Wii U. The good news, if you already own a Wii U and you already own Minecraft on it, is that it's free. And what it includes is 40 unique skins of the different Super Mario characters, as well as texture packs, which will make the world seem more Mario-like and make the ground look like the grass from Super Mario World, which is pretty cool, and you'll be able to get different tools and things like that. And so effectively you can recreate Mario levels, you can recreate Bowser's Castle and things like that and make it look pretty cool, which for Wii U...
Chickens into Goombas?
Don't know. I assume
I hope so.
Yeah, I really do hope so. So it's one of those things that I kind of looked at and went, oh, that's super tempting to buy a Wii U. Not quite enough, though.
Really? I already own one.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought it would be exciting news, but I spent the whole day defending myself against Luke. So I hope somebody out there is super excited that they get their free update, and you're welcome.
I'm excited. I'm sure that my
No, you don't get
boys
to be
will get
excited.
That, so.
Go back into
You're
your
not allowed
corner.
to have an opinion anymore.
No, you're done. You're done for today. Back on your spot.
No. I'll accept crushing defeat. That's all right. So anyway, speaking of crushing defeat, topic of the week. So Imogen, this was your idea. So what are we talking about today?
I forgot this was my idea.
Yeah.
Today we are talking about games that are difficult, and here you have written soul-crushingly difficult games. And I guess I think it's interesting because I find all games ever difficult, and you guys are not like that. So I'm interested to find out what games you thought they were difficult and why they were maybe particularly difficult, because it's going to be different for everyone, I suspect.
Well,
but there may be some games out there that just everybody found very difficult.
The soul-crushingly difficult moniker is a really interestingly appropriate one at the moment because, Dark Souls 3 is a very big game in a lot of people's spotlights right now. And Dark Souls as a franchise is very, very well renowned for being one of the most difficult series of games ever, to the extent that a lot of people now, when they're talking about games that are hard, that it's almost become like common video game vernacular where they just say, like, it's X crossed with Dark Souls just to describe a game that is hard, which is a ridiculously stupid way to describe games, but it seems to be what's happening.
I concur, because they're not that difficult.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
all right.
Modesty.
Yeah, he's so
There it
humble.
is.
Is
I will
Ollie.
extrapolate on this later.
Yeah, no, that's cool. So, I mean, do you guys actually enjoy difficult games? Is that something that you think is cool?
Nope.
I love just straight up no.
I'm sort of 50-50. Depends.
I need a degree of difficulty in a game. Some games, if I'm just playing for the story, say Beyond Two Souls, I'm happy to just be like, la 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 la, go through, no worries. But if I'm playing a game that isn't reliant on narrative, I need there to be some modicum of challenge.
Yeah.
So I will usually be, if I'm playing, say, Fallout 4 is a good example, I will crank it up to the highest difficulty.
Oh my gosh. No, thank you
Because
very much.
otherwise the game is too easy.
Interesting. I kind of agree with you, actually, Ollie. Like, I tend to find that usually the decision for me as to whether I want something to be really difficult comes down to whether there's heavy narrative as well. Because if there is heavy narrative, I don't necessarily need the game to be super hard for my itch to be scratched in terms of enjoyment. Yeah. Like, when I was loading up Uncharted 4 yesterday, this is a really good example. So one of the choices you can actually make when you're setting the game up for the first time is whether you want to turn snap to target on for your shooting. And, some games that's actually quite enjoyable. Like, I've had that enacted for, say, GTA 5 when I was playing the single-player campaign on that, because I knew the game was going to be super story-heavy, and I was, happy to sort of have that boost just so I could get through and, get through all the content a bit quicker. But with Uncharted, because I've never played an Uncharted game, I was unsure as to whether I should select that or not, because I didn't know how much the gunplay was going to play a part in the game. And I chose not to put it on, so I've ramped up the difficulty a little bit, essentially, by having to manually shoot everything as opposed to having that little assist. And I think at the moment I've probably made the right choice, but it's hard to say. Jam, you having played those games before, what do you think about that? Is that something that you think will make that game enjoyable or less enjoyable?
I think for that sort of game, well, the ones I've played, I think I've played the first 2.5. If it's incredibly linear in other aspects, then yeah, a little bit of extra difficulty in the combat would be fun and interesting. It's just, for me, it depends on the game and what the game requires of you to succeed. For like Guitar Hero, the harder it got, the more fun it was. There's a soundbite. It's just,
I wasn't going to say anything.
Didn't want to say it. Everyone was happy to leave it.
Still.
Oh, that's what she said. Now I feel better. Okay.
You know, the more difficult it gets, the more satisfying it is when you succeed and manage to complete a song. Whereas others, yeah, probably in a similar sense, if it's narrative heavy, it's not as important to me. But it probably more depends on just my mood and what I want out of that game at that particular moment. But yeah, it's certainly, I can appreciate difficult games at times. Oh, that's, yeah. It's kind of vague, but it certainly feels great when you manage to get through something.
Do you think it may be more appropriate to say that it's not so much that you desire a difficult game, it's that you don't want a game that's too easy?
Yeah, for the most part. Some games, though, you know, easy doesn't matter because my whole, like Minecraft, the difficulty in that doesn't faze me either way. I can be in creative doing my thing, or I can be in survival on the hardest setting trying to survive the night. Like, I'm not bothered too much. I will say, though, that some of the more extremely difficult games, I just find I lack the patience if it requires me to do things repetitively. Quite frequently.
Agreed. Yeah,
that will put me off. Hence why I'm not into Dark Souls at the moment.
All right, well, I mean, this is probably a good point to ask Ollie what he meant more about the Dark Souls series. So, I mean, what specific factors do you all find make games difficult? And maybe this is a good opportunity for you to sort of chat about what you think Dark Souls provides in terms of difficulty and why you don't think it's difficult, Ollie.
Okay, I will preface this. The first Dark Souls for me was actually challenging.
Demon Souls or the first Dark Souls?
Dark Souls.
Yeah.
So I found that challenging. And then they got easier as I went. Now the reason behind that is there's two things I find that make a game difficult. Pattern recognition and how difficult it is to recognize those patterns in a game, and random number generators, or RNGs. Those two things can make a game difficult. So depending on how hard you make your patterns to recognize, can up the difficulty a lot. And that's what Dark Souls does. It disguises its patterns quite well, and it's not afraid to change those patterns midway through either. And I'll be honest, the first time I go through any boss, I won't even bother like attacking until I can see how it actually works properly and see its various attacks and timings and whatnot. Then I'll actually let it kill me, go back through, and then actually start doing damage, go, oh, there's the pattern change, because there's always a pattern change. And that in itself is pattern recognition. And then go, okay, there it is. And yeah, it usually takes me 3 or 4 goes to get a boss, just by having a little bit of patience.
Okay. Interesting.
So, yeah. Pattern recognition is the big thing, I reckon.
So you think that the other games in the series have gotten easier because they've used the same style of patterns in them? Is that sort of what you're saying?
Essentially, yeah. Like, once you know that the overall pattern is there, like you know how the boss fights work, how the generic mobs work, then it makes focusing on the specific patterns for each boss and monster a lot easier. A relevant one that you guys can all relate to for this is Crypto the Necrodancer. There is an overall pattern for the game that once you recognize, makes recognizing the individual monster patterns a lot easier.
True.
So,
Well, what do you think, Imogen? What do you find makes games difficult? Because you frequently say you find a lot of games difficult, but there must be some common themes.
Well, the thing is, I find a lot of games difficult for a couple of reasons. And you guys were saying that, as long as, narrative comes into it a lot more for me, I think. I will play a difficult, quote unquote, a difficult game as long as I am still interested in the story. But if I am dying umpteen million times and repeating the same thing, I'm no longer enjoying a narrative. I'm not getting anywhere in the story and I lose interest. And so a big part for me is losing interest and holding my interest, which is why I end up playing multiplayer games that would be quote unquote hard a lot longer than I would a single player sort of console game like Ori and the Blind Forest. So even though I love that the game, and I think that it's beautiful and everything else, I do get to a point where I have to put that down for weeks at a time because I just get really frustrated at this one place and I'm not enjoying the game anymore. So I say I find all games difficult because I'm generally not, I'm not a good shooter, and I guess the only thing I got in my head is pattern recognition and a little bit of strategy, which is why I enjoy RTS a bit more. But generally I find games difficult if they're requiring very precise movement. So Ori and the Blind Forest, obviously as a platform perspective, incredibly precise movements and timing. Cryptid the Necrodancer I chose because I enjoy it for following the beat, but it is that pattern and it is dealing with multiple things at once, which stops being a I'm good at recognizing beat game and starts being the you can't do so many things at once game. Yeah. So for me, yeah, the game has to be really engaging and maybe pretty, which is why I think maybe I end up, towards I'm happy to play the harder areas of World of Warcraft and things like that because I play it with other people and that holds my interest. So even if we're doing the same dungeon or the same boss again and again and again, if it's with other people, it becomes more interesting and I can do the same things. I can repeat the same patterns, but not by myself, not interested.
Jan, what are your thoughts?
So I made a little list so that I didn't have to think of this on the spot. Time limits.
Yeah.
Some games, the thing you have to accomplish may be simple enough and straightforward enough, but if you have to do it in a particular time limit, that will just completely throw you for a loop. Precise movements, like Imogen said, that I remember, and I can't recall the name of it. Help me out if you can. It was this really old video game. And it was a house, and I think it might have been pink, and it was this crappy 8-bit thing, and you had to walk around the house. Oh, God.
What were you? Were you an animal? Am I a vegetable?
Mineral?
Tentacle?
You're a guy. I think it's Hugo's House of Horror. No. Yeah?
No,
I'm going to have to look this up.
Absolutely no point of reference for this game.
You're walking into different rooms, looking at objects, investigating, exploring.
Well, and I just remember...
In the back, yeah, it's a lot like Leisure Suit Larry. And I remember in the backyard, there was this little stream of water and a bridge. And at one point you had a box of matches in your pocket and you had to get across this bridge without dropping the box of matches. And it was so difficult because it was like one pixel at a time. You had to be so precise in how you crossed it. It was so incredibly difficult just for the sake of being difficult. So, yeah, that precision, that can become very difficult, especially if it's sometimes disguised by the graphics. Resource management can make games extremely difficult because you can't be everywhere doing everything at once. You have to balance your time and resources out amongst various factors, and I'm thinking faster than light at the moment, among other games.
Yeah, but that has a heavy RNG in there as well.
Yeah, but it's definitely a contributing factor. It can make, especially if you don't have time to pause, if you have to make snappy decisions about where to allocate things or how to spend your time, that's really good. And the reflex twitch movement, that's just obvious. Some people are naturally gifted, like my brother, and he finds any kind of challenging game that requires, reflexive anything, just a piece of pie. I was going to say another word. And complex puzzles. Brain bending. Portal. Luke, we still have to play Portal 2.
Yep.
You still have to play Antichamber as well.
Yeah, I've played a bit of Antichamber, but it was a while ago and it was when my graphics card wasn't working and that made it tricky. The Witness, the harder puzzles, just that I love that kind of difficulty because that thrill you get when you finally solve it, it's the best.
Yeah. I think that's a great example of a game that would not be as good if it wasn't hard.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you got to think you're like the dumbest person alive for a solid 5 minutes while you're looking at these, symbols, going, why? They're just
tilting your head like left to right, like a dog, like a confused dog. What?
I was online for one of those. You're like, man, I just can't get this puzzle. I'll just be AFK, gonna get some dinner. You come back, you're like, oh, you know that really difficult puzzle? Yeah, I just got it.
I know. I just needed that time out, and then my subconscious, it's very smart. It's much smarter than my conscious.
That's worrying.
Click. I know, right?
I would have thought it'd be substandard.
Concerning. But yeah, that's what I came up
Luke,
with.
That was really bad.
I think those factors contribute to the difficulty quite a bit.
Yeah, I guess for me, I'd echo quite a few of the ones that you guys have said. The pattern recognition one, I think, is quite common. And in a way, it's kind of a little bit similar to some of the precise movement and timing stuff. But I think, you can have games that require precise movement and timing where there's really no pattern involved. Like, there are some platformers like that where literally the thing you're working towards is static. But unless you're absolutely spot on with how, you move onto a platform or, make a jump or something like that, it's not so much about pattern. It's more about just getting the controls right.
Can I defend myself here?
Yeah.
So when I say pattern, everything you guys have mentioned is a pattern. Just so you're aware. So having knowing that precise timing of something is a pattern. So managing resources is a pattern. You go X amount of resource gives me Y amount of result. And managing that is a pattern. You're recognizing the optimal pattern of things.
Okay, I guess if you're talking in broad terms like that, that makes sense.
I am. That's what I mean, yeah. I don't mean like it's red,
Literal
blue, and white in
patterns,
the order, so I repeat this pattern. No, I mean that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So the larger
yeah.
macro pattern.
Okay, that's fair. So the timing thing, one of the things that I find makes games quite difficult are ones that are actually crafted to provide some sort of response from the player at a emotional level as well. And what I mean by that is I have no doubt that there are games that are crafted in particular ways to make you frustrated or impatient, and that actually provides one of the greater challenges. So, games where you're trying to get past a point that you've gotten past many, many times before, and you should be able to do it with little to no effort because you've done so many times before, can quite easily prove your undoing if you try and do it too quickly without taking appropriate care. So
complacent.
Yeah, exactly. You basically go on tilt and you screw things up that you shouldn't be screwing up because, you've done them before, but you start getting sloppy because you're racing your way back through and being careless as you do so. So that can get really difficult and frustrating at the point where you just want to move ahead. But I actually played a game that this year, which was very unlike any other game that I'd played before, which provided a new level of difficulty that I hadn't really encountered up until now. And that was actually That Dragon Cancer. And that was difficult in terms of the subject matter. Like, I found that was an extremely difficult game to play, not because it was technically hard to get through. Like, the controls weren't difficult, the gameplay challenges weren't difficult. It was just the subject matter. It was so heavy that I found it really hard.
I'd agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
I'd echo that.
But it's a rarity. Like, I don't think there's many other games like that at all.
No, actually, I literally cannot think of any other game.
I don't think there is. And there's many people out there. I mean, that's the type of game in terms of structure of game I would usually really enjoy, but I chose not to play it because I do think it would just be too difficult to do.
Actually, no. I can think of one.
Okay.
I can think of one. The Cat Lady. That game was actually difficult because of the content matter, because it had a lot of depression themes in it.
Right, yeah.
And I myself don't suffer from depression, but it put it in terms that people that don't have it could understand it very visually. And yeah, that game was actually genuinely difficult, as well as having some really messed up stuff in there.
I think a lot of those sort of difficult themes will be in the eye of the beholder as well. Like,
exactly.
If there was a game about child abduction and you happen to have had a child that's been abducted, then, of course, you're going to find that game pretty difficult.
Alt F4, uninstall.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, that sort of stuff goes without saying. But, okay, interesting. So now I wanted to ask you guys, and we sort of started chatting about this during the week. It was an interesting discussion. Do you think that there is actually a trend in games getting more difficult or less difficult as time goes by? And that could be due to like games themselves changing, like the industry standards changing, or it could be due to how we as gamers evolve. Do you actually find that after a bit of time, games become easier or, even more difficult sometimes if you've left them alone for quite a while? So
I think I had to think about this. Overarching, I think that in terms of, obviously games get more complicated and they've got more mechanics and those types of things. But I think that nowadays games overall are easier. And I'm going to use one very particular example, is that when you used to go most way through a level and then die at the last hurdle, you would have to restart the level.
Yeah.
And there was no checkpoints, whereas now games are designed so that you don't go too far back, because because now there is so much competition for games. They don't want you to get dispirited. They don't want you to quit the game because, oh God, I have to go back to the beginning of the level. They're trying to still make it enticing. Whereas games, you used to have the save code, or you'd go back to the beginning of the game and those types of things. And now, like, the legendary difficult games are the ones where unless you get all the way through without dying, then you have to go back to the beginning of the game. Like, they're the legendary difficult games. So I do think that games are a little bit easier just because for sales, for marketing purposes, they need to still make it engaging. So
I guess this is
overall,
sort of realizing that aside from the fact that a lot of games these days actually have difficulty setting options as well. So if we were to assume that every game that we're talking about, you're basically playing on the default recommended setting, like the medium setting or whatever that happens to be for that particular title, then yeah.
See, I found it more like a cycle thing. Like, games started off really difficult, as Imogen mentioned. Like, you would have to restart the level, that sort of thing, if you stuff up. Then it got really easy, like it had a dip in difficulty when they became more mainstream and more popular, again, probably for sales and marketing purposes. I find now, especially amongst, and I will say this, especially amongst indie titles, they've started to pick up the difficulty again.
Yeah.
So, and I'll use Dark Souls as a classic example, okay? Or Bloodborne. Game
Small
is notoriously hard. Okay, well, no, as the AAA versions of that.
Yep.
They are, air quotes, notoriously hard and used as, exemplars of difficulty, and they're very popular because of it. Kerbal Space Program, massive learning curve, massive, and again, very popular. Initial Minecraft, that game, if you played that game early on, holy shit, that could kick you in the balls repeatedly. Very first time I played Minecraft, I spent my first night in a hole that I dug and I patched over because I had no idea what the hell I was doing.
Yep.
As there was no explanation.
As a new player, I can relate to that when I first got in as well. I think that was very similar to my experience.
And yours wasn't that long ago either. Like, yours was actually fairly recent.
Within the last 12 months.
Relatively speaking. Yeah. So I feel like, and then the indie games, they've sort of latched on to that, yes, we can make difficult, cool games because we're indie, that's what we do. And that's fine, it's great. So indie games have actually gotten a lot harder, I reckon. So there's been like this highness, and then it's dipped down, and then it's been picking up again.
I agree. I think it's getting rediscovered.
And I like that. I reckon it's a good thing.
Yeah, the challenge of games is becoming a sales point almost.
I think that
this
one
game
of the,
is so good, you have to be great at it to win, kind of thing.
One of the factors that's different these days that I think contributes a lot to a game's difficulty is the increased number of games that are built for multiplayer. Because I think that there is one of the things that adds a challenge like no other challenge, and that's when you're playing against other real-life human beings. Because the predictability of the game in a lot of cases goes out the window, and you're dealing with people that are on a level of skill equal to or well above yours, and having to adapt to that can be really challenging sometimes, unless you become a real master of the game that you're talking about. So, yeah, it's
That's very true.
Lot different to what we were used to back when we were kids, because the range of multiplayer options available were really limited to local area stuff, or even on the same machine, like two people sharing the same screen. So but now there's heaps and heaps of different options.
I remember playing split screen Need for Speed.
Yeah.
Split screen GoldenEye for the win.
Oh yeah, it's good times with that game. Oh my god. No, like I thought back to some of the hardest games I've ever played too, and I tend to agree. Like a lot of my hardest ever were from over a decade ago, and I kind of questioned myself when I realized that and thought to myself, is that because they were actually harder than games that are out these days, or is it because as a gamer back then I was far less matured in terms of what I'd experienced? I'm actually not sure whether they would be as hard sort of going back. They may even be harder. Like, there's definitely games that I feel, if I was to go back and play them now, and, Battletoads is an example I'll bring up for this. So Battletoads, when it first came out, I played, and that I would put that down as one of my hardest games of all time that I remember. Now, that was a game that had a lot to do with pattern recognition, to your point before, Ollie, and there are a lot of patterns in that game that unless you got them right with split-second timing in some cases, you were basically done and dusted. I played that game so frequently back then that I sort of, through muscle memory was able to play through a lot of those levels without thinking too much about it. Going back now, it's been over 20 years since I last played that game. I don't think I would be anywhere near as good now as I was back then because of the amount of practice I put in at the time. So I think that there's definitely a point where your skill at a particular game or a particular game type sort of diminishes and degrades over time to the point where you would need to relearn a lot of the skills over again. So what are your thoughts on that?
But that relearning, that would be swifter.
Maybe.
Plus, you have a much larger pool of experience to like draw upon as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I think,
not sure.
yeah, I think if you tried, you'd be rusty for sure, but you'd pick it up a lot quicker than if you were starting
Fresh.
and it took you to learn in the first place.
Well, here, Luke, you can do a science experiment. Play Battletoads.
Do it.
For science.
Yeah, I'll just science. I'll just put it in the queue with all the other stuff that I've got on it.
Science the shit out of it.
Yeah.
Look, I actually wouldn't mind doing that. It's a super good game.
Get me some hypothesis.
Well, shall we move on to some of our top sort of most difficult games for each of us? So, who wants to start?
Luke.
Yeah, go for it.
Sure. All right. Well, I mentioned Battletoads already, so that's definitely on the list. The other ones I had down, and for any of you, and I think I might have actually spoken about this very briefly on our episode 0. Do you guys ever remember playing a game called Snake, Rattle and Roll, which is on the original NES? So I think it was one of the first true sort of 3D games, because it was kind of played on like a grid map where you sort of moved up and down with the control pad, but it was sort of on the side where it was almost like a diagonal grid, if that makes sense. So left wasn't left, it was kind of, northwest and right was kind of southeast, and, it was aligned that way. So you could almost turn the controller slightly on its side and play like that. But it was a really super tough game because of the amount of life resource you got to actually span the entire game, and once you ran out, that was it, and you had to start over again. So I think there was a lot of games like that around that time where your progression was sort of capped at a certain point of chances, and once you used all those chances up, then you had to start the entire game over again, no matter how long it was. So as a pretty common thing. But yeah, that game was ridiculously hard. Like split-second timing, some of the jumps you had to make were just, you had to be really precise, otherwise that was it. And yeah, it was pretty unforgiving. Smash TV is another one that comes to mind. So Smash TV is one of the games that I remember as probably one of the first ever real bullet hell style games. The first time I ever played that was actually on an arcade machine, and it made its way onto console shortly thereafter. And, it was a game themed around you basically being like a futuristic warrior in a, giant simulated sort of TV show, which was basically you're in an arena and they send wave after wave of, robotic enemies at you. And you have to fight your way out of each sort of wave and progress through the game as much as you can. But it was super hard. Mega Man X2 was another one that comes to mind. So that was a game that was just, the Mega Man games in general were quite tough, but X2 in particular was just really hard because some of the boss battles were just ridiculous. And particularly the very final one that you have against Sigma, who's kind of the main enemy of that series. It was just, it was one of those boss battles where it had like 3 or 4 different stages, and each stage you think you finished it, and nope, here he comes back for another round, and holy crap, he's changed his patterns, and oh my god, I'm dead, and I have to start that all over again. So yeah, that was a bit crap. And the last one I had on the list was League of Legends. So I haven't actually played all of the different MOBAs around, and I believe from what I've heard that Dota 2 may actually be a little tougher as a MOBA. But I tend to find MOBAs in general quite difficult. I think Heroes of the Storm is probably the outlier for me because I find that a little bit more forgiving. And I don't know what it is about the game. Like League in particular, I think there's generally quite a high level of player skill that plays that game on a regular basis. So matching up against the common denominator in terms of other players was probably seeing me at a huge deficit, and therefore finding the whole game really tough. But there was just a lot to keep an eye on in that game. I just found it very, very busy in terms of the controls and mechanisms, and that made it quite tough for me. So, but yeah, that's my list anyway. Who's got some stuffs?
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll have some stuffs. So for me, the first Dark Souls game was quite tricksy because I had to learn how they put their game together. So that was a good one. Sonic the Hedgehog on the Sega Master System too. Because if you died and lost all your lives, you restarted that game.
Yep.
And
that's the
legend.
legend.
That shit was legit hard at times.
Quick question for you
Fucking
along
jungle
games
level, man.
like that. Do you think that one of the things that contributed to games' difficulties like that back then was the difference in responsiveness of the controls? Like not
As in the technology?
Yeah.
Maybe? Question mark? Not sure. Like that would be something I would have to go to back now and actually try out. That being said, playing the old SNES at my girlfriend's place, the responsiveness was fine on it.
Okay, all right.
So, maybe not. Maybe they were just shit back then. That's also a possibility.
Fair enough.
Kerbal Space Program, I found really challenging because the learning curve is fucking astronomical, and that's not a space pun. I'm actually being serious. It's insane how much you have to learn in that game. Like, you learn astrophysics. If you want to get to the moon, you learn astrophysics. The detail is insanity. So I liked it for that, actually, because I like space. So that one was a big one for me. DayZ. So that was the zombie mod for Arma 2. Now, I should preface this. Not because the game play was hard, as in, running around, shooting zombies, dodging zombies, that's fine. Because of the scale of the map and and because you couldn't spawn in groups.
Yeah.
So having to track someone down using the weird Russian names just over the voice chat was really freaking hard. One of my favorite moments in that was me and my mate spawned at night, ran like buggers because zombies were chasing us, went, okay, let's meet up at this point. We thought we met up this, we're like, oh, we're at a church. We're like, oh, sweet. Let's both go into the church for the thing, we'll find it. We walk into completely different churches. Because the game looks the same because it copies a lot of models. And I sent him a picture, he's like, yep, that's a church I can see. Alright, cool, head in. So he gets gunned down by a band of other players who are using the church as a base. And I walk into a zombie hellhole. And I'm like, well, this is great. Awesome. So that made that game very difficult. That, and every time you saw a player, you had to do the waggle of friendship, which was the lean side to side. And if they didn't waggle, you just immediately heard gunshots, or you just hear a gunshot and you'd fall over dead.
Yeah. The permadeath's so punishing.
You just be like, well, there goes the last 3 hours of progression. Well, shit. And another example, this was me being an absolute asshole, was me and a couple of mates stole another guy's car. And for anyone that's ever played DayZ, you know how hard it is to get a functioning vehicle in it.
That's amazing.
We just nicked his car. We shot him out of the car, and then we stole it. And just hooned around until it broke.
Nice.
And he was running after us going, no! And because he managed to respawn really close.
It's incredible when you hear an engine. You're just like, vehicle!
Yep. Yeah, it is... Yeah, that game, man. That game punished you. I will also say Super Mario Maker.
Oh, yeah. Good call.
So, and this is one of my more recent ones. Now, this game has some very easy levels. Like, don't get me wrong, there's some nice, like, doop-a-doop-a-doop, I'm jumping on Goombas, look at me go, and it's fun, and it's all good. And then the game ramps up the difficulty, and you're like, oh yeah, no big deal, couple of practice goes, there we go, that's alright. Now, I should preface, my missus is ridiculous at Mario, like, actually ridiculous, and I enjoy a lot of Twitch gameplay. So she's very good with the puzzle Mario maps, and I'm very good with the twitchy, speed-fast ones. And there are some levels that we just look at and go, what the fuck are we looking at? Like, how do you even do this? And we've then, like, some levels we've tried and we've thrown like 40, 50, 60 Marios at. And we're just there going, what the shit? To the point where then we've looked up, see if we can find a video of it. And sometimes you can because they're really hard maps. So hard my voice just broke. And we look at it and we watch it and you're like, how is this person doing that? Like, it's insanity. Like, if you guys ever watched some of those Twitch streamers doing the thing for charity with the Super Mario Maker levels, we mentioned it a fair few episodes ago.
Oh, the Good Games Done Quick stuff?
Yeah, that one. And if you watch some of those Mario Maker levels, they're some of the levels we tried. We're just there going, how the fuck do you do this? And we're not, like, incompetent gamers. Like, we're both competent at it. And we're just like, this is insane. So that was a big one for difficulty. And then FTL. And for a very special reason for FTL for me. So you could play that game flawlessly. Like, you could be like, yep, manage my resources perfectly. Okay, I've got my good crew sorted. I've got a decent amount of shields and lasers and missiles and, like, going well. And then an enemy ship will pop up that's just, because of the RNG, that's just massively overpowers you and you just get obliterated. Or you get a space virus out of nowhere. Or pirates. And your ship just gets annihilated. And just like, well, that was 6 hours. That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
So that game, purely for the RNG factor. This, like, once you get the hang of it, like after a few games, like you sort of get the hang of it and you're like, okay, cool. And then it'll just throw a curveball at you. And your ship explodes and people die.
Nice.
Well, awesome.
Nothing like losing a whole bunch of hours worth of your life to random chance. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my pick. Those are my picks.
Ladies, what say you?
I also found Faster Than Light very difficult. I probably haven't put as much time into it as Ollie though. But oh my god, you end up with no choice but to go into the more difficult territories of space, and oh my god, so punishing. Trials? I love the Trials games. Have you guys played Trials?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Not yet. Briefly. Yeah.
Is good.
Trials is good.
And fun, and it starts off so easy, and you're like, oh yeah, whatevs. And then I'm screaming and swearing at my screen, and then I watch my brother do it with casual ease, and I'm just rage. So much rage. It's uncanny. And similarly, Cloudberry Kingdom, the later levels, when you get to like 200 or whatever.
And your screen is just full of shit.
It is swarming.
You're like, where's the background? I can't see it.
Everything's going a different way and following its own different rules. And the path that you have to forge through and amongst and bouncing off, and my god,
I can't believe I didn't remember this one actually. Thank you for reminding me of the horrors of the later levels.
Extraordinary. I love it. It's so much fun. But I swear,
if it didn't look so adorable, I'd hate it.
And if you couldn't choose the little beards and costumes,
yeah,
it's
exactly.
Cute. It's so cute. We have to get together and play that. It's just great.
No, because you're going to see 4 angry people by the end of the day.
The only other one I've got that I've played some, Mist and Riven.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember those back in the day?
Yep.
There was no instruction manual, and I was young. I had no clue what was going on. I ended up just exploring the islands, to the extent that I could.
Yeah.
Very few puzzles were solved. I was just like, huh? What?
I cheated with those.
I went
because
back.
There was a PC magazine that came out
Yeah,
around the same time, and I was like, oh, has a walkthrough.
Well,
I went
the
back a
old Zork
few
games
years
were
later.
similar as well, but I think the Zork games gave you a little bit of information, whereas those ones just did not. They just threw you straight into the world.
Yeah, it was just because the Witness very organically teaches you how to play, although it is one sort of puzzle over and over again. So it's recognizable as a puzzle.
Yeah.
Just Mist and Riven, Jesus, the things you had to pick up on to solve that, to open things, just absurd, but so cool, so different for its time. And have any of you started our game of the month, Adam?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
I've been playing Overwatch.
Well,
Really, that's over now.
I put the tutorial on, and the sheer amount of instructions it inundated me with for key bindings, I was completely lost, and I starved to death in the tutorial in the first village trying to talk to a villager. So, yeah.
I need some personal context for this game. I need to try it.
I need someone else to be online, and I'm
just
trying
talk
to
you through.
learn it.
Well, while we're
Just
not,
so
while we're
that
not
I can-
overwatching might be a good time.
Yeah, I need a buddy.
Yeah.
I just need a buddy just
I
to
need an adult.
get through that learning curve, that first bit. Yeah, that's my list.
All right. Well, Imogen, we're running long, but you have some interesting stuff on your list, I'm sure.
No, not really. I'm just going to say at this stage, I think we've gone long enough today. I just generally find a lot of games difficult. So I know I find them difficult for different reasons. So some of the games you've mentioned there, like Cloudberry Kingdom, I quite enjoy playing that game. I wouldn't consider that. I find it difficult in that it's supposed to, it ramps up, but I wouldn't consider it a difficult game, if that makes any sense. And I've already mentioned Ori and Crypt of the Necrodancer, but on top of everything else, if anything requires me to be accurate with some sort of projectile weapon, not very good at that.
I think it's fair to say that there are some games that by and large themselves aren't difficult, but they have 1 or 2 moments that are just ridiculously soul-crushingly hard, that it just makes you remember that game for that moment for a long, long time. Guitar Hero, Through the Fire and the Flames, great example.
Oh, yes.
That one song is just defining in terms of the possible levels of difficulty. The other one that springs to mind as well is the final run down the valley in Mass Effect 3 before you go through the last portal. Oh my god, that level is hard. Do you remember that one, Jam? Where you?
Yeah, but I didn't have any trouble.
Oh, okay, fine.
Yeah, that
I'd
quite
played
alright.
through every possible side quest,
Yeah, you get over level.
corner of I was well prepared.
That might be why.
Well
then.
prepared.
I may have
had
been under level.
all of my friends.
No, but I mean, it's cool. I mean, stuff like that, I think, doesn't make a whole game hard, but it does make, memorable moments that you're just like, oh my god,
Skyrim,
damn.
wandering into a random dungeon, working your way through, and then you're like, oh, that dragon priest is 15 times my level. And my quick save is just the room next door.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Dragon Age Inquisition, actually fighting the dragons, those boss battles take about 40 minutes plus each in some cases.
They were lengthy.
Yeah,
They were lengthy.
so some tough stuff out there. But yeah, no, all right, cool. Well, good chat, guys. I think we found some interesting ones. There's some games from an age-long past that I might want to pick up at some point in the future. It's cool. Any final thoughts on hard games? We beat that one long enough?
I think so.
Yep. All
Level passed.
Cool. Well, let's wrap up because we have other gamings to do. So, if you have a comment on some of the most difficult games you've ever played, please let us know. It'd be interesting to hear what some of our listeners' games of that sort of ilk are. So you can hit us up via email, mail@partyloaded.com. Hop on and chat with us on Facebook at facebook.com/partyloaded. You could also reply to us on Twitter at partyloadedshow. And if there's any particular interesting ones, we'll bring them up on the next episode and discuss them. So
Pick lots of really hard games, then we can put them in our game of our month.
that's true. You can also suggest it for that.
Please
and our
don't do
next party game of the month is
Watch
coming up in
Image and Cry.
3 episodes. Yeah. Cool. All right, so Ancient Domains of Mystery is really, really hard. So we're going to have to get onto this before the end of the month then.
My brain just wasn't
Well, I have to because
up for
Overwatch
it.
will come out.
Yeah, that's true.
And then goodbye.
We all do have a bit of a somewhat of a clock ticking in the
My
background.
watch will begin.
Yeah. Nice. All right. Well, let's go and take a break. Dream dreams of Overwatch and games that are too hard. Until then. That's it for us this week. See you next time. Bye.
Ta-da!
Bye, guys.
Bye.
The Party Loaded podcast is a Channel Endgame production. For this and more great gaming content, bookmark channelendgame.com.